Hi, and welcome everyone to our regular Wednesday live stream. Wherever you're going to be watching this, whether it's on the YouTubes, on the Twitters, on the Getters, on the Rumbles, on the Odysseys, on the D Lives, on the Facebooks, wherever it is, anyway, you are all very welcome. Hi, Leslie Butler, Chris Davies, quick off the draw, you two. It's hard to get ahead of you two when it comes to these live streams. Thank you for being here. Now, I'm going to do my usual routine. Let me just give me a second or two. I'm going to jump across. Just want to make sure I get a getter so I can see you guys over there as well. So just bringing up that live stream over there just now. So give me a second. It takes a little minute or a few seconds rather for Getter to kick in. So hello, Albert. Hi, Republican Rocker. All you guys over on the Getters as well. So and we have Matt all the way from New Zealand. So I'm not sure if it's 8 p.m. in the UK. What is it? Is it 8 a.m. in New Zealand? Matt, I have no idea what time zone it is there. And Chris Davies out to confound me by being in parallel streams at the same time. Am I seeing double? Huh. Do my eyes deceive me, Chris Davies? Or are you in both streams? Hi, Albert. Hi, Stu. Good to see you as well. Thanks for being here, guys. Now, of course, it's morning time. It's morning in New Zealand. Although, mind you, given the tyrannical administration you live under, Matt, it's more like almost 1 minute to midnight under the equine-looking Jacinda. So, yeah. So as I said, so lots of stuff to get through. As always, action-packed, lots of conversation to be had. It's always difficult trying to kind of work out, well, what are the topics that we should we should cover, but we have Jed and I have welcomed them down to 3, so we're going to talk about those in a second. Just again, welcome to Blitzer. Thank you. He says a warm welcome to everyone, but Dave Angel. I think we blocked him actually, Blitzer, so he's not going to be coming back. Hello, Lee, David Sainsbury. Good to see you as well, my friend. Always such regular and such good people who come along onto the stream. And of course, for those who will listen to this, because I think it goes out, we put out a podcast, and for those who catch up on replay, which a lot of people do, especially in the Twitters, then again, you are very, very welcome. Hi, Biotech Babe. You picked up on my wicked assertion regarding Jacinda. Chris says, I prefer Getter over YouTube. Chris, it's an interesting thing, this, which platforms people prefer. Basically, I'm happy with most of them, I guess. But for streaming, the Getter live stream's a real good one. And the YouTube one is it's fine. Some of you folks obviously have your preferences, and that's always good. Hello, Vicky. Good to see you as well. Thanks so much for being here. Okay, well, actually, talking of platforms, let's start off at the top of this, and let me ask you all a question, wherever you are and listening to this right now. Hello, Simon. Good to see you there. And my impression is that the COVID vaccine dam is breaching, and it doesn't matter where you go. You go to US, here in the UK, actually many parts around the world. What you now get is more and more people speaking up against what they see as a very, I'm going to call it an injection, which is less than ideal, and which has got lots of questions, the sort of questions we have been calling out here since December 2020. So it's only taken the rest of the world, what's that, a couple of years to catch up with us. That's why if you stick with us, you're always going to be kept well informed. And I think without any further, I should of course bring on my co-host on a Wednesday, and that is of course Jed, if you want to come onto the stream, bring yourself on in frog format. I see this evening.
Well, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat, David. But we're here. I nearly said we're here, we're queer, but that would have been completely
No, that
wrong.
would not be quite right. No.
I was just thinking back to one of your videos today about man and a woman marriage. Sorry, one of your podcasts.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not one we'll not tackle that tonight. But the whole issue of gender recognition in Scotland has put the cat amongst the pigeons at one level, and then at another level, we've got the Church of England. Actually, I'm sure you guys may have seen this. Church of England is going to come out, I think, tomorrow or the next day or so, and basically say that marriage, the only marriage it will recognise within its its kind of auspices is that of a man and a woman. So
bigots. That's what they are, David. They're all bigots.
The bigots, yes, they're trans.
I can see the headlines now.
Oh yeah. And I mean, given the absolute state of much of the Church of England, where do you see the kickback there's going to be against this? I am sure, folks, you'll be getting a podcast. There's definitely going to be a podcast on this one, because once they come out, once the bishops say what they're going to say, there's going to be an outroar. Hi, Melanie, by the way, good to see you. Hi, Brian, as well. Thanks, guys, for being there on the different streams. I'm looking across here. So So anyway, back, Jed, to the topic, the main topic, which is what I see as the breach in the dam. We were told, as you know, Jed, from December of 2020, these vaccines, they're lifesavers. That's the elixir of eternal life. Dr. Fauci told us that. Just one, Jed, just one would do the job. Remember, we were told all that.
We was, David. We wasn't we?
We were.
One lie after another lie after another lie. And now they're all falling. I agree with you, David. I know you've done a podcast on this today, but I do agree. I think the dam is. I'm going to contradict you, because you seem to think the dam has burst. I think it's bursting.
Yeah.
I am hearing more and more about vaccine damage on mainstream, but it's not a flood yet, and I want it to be a flood.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair comment. I think that if I was looking at the structure of the dam that they built to stop any questioning of the of the vaccinations, quotation marks, I would be seeing cracks, Jed, appearing, big cracks. Yes, they haven't split the dam, so it's not burst. But I think that's what might happen, And so when we've seen, you touched on it, Jed, with mainstream media here in the UK and in the US as well, we're now seeing doctors coming on, and they are openly saying, listen, there's lots of big questions about these experimental mRNA treatments. And until we do get the full data, the responsible thing to do is to suspend them. And even the BBC, we've seen that on, Jed. So, it is really interesting, I think, to watch this, because some people say, oh, this is the sort of controlled phase of the project. So they rolled the things out, told everyone that they were super safe and effective. And now they're allowing some people to go on media and say, well, maybe they're not that safe and effective after all. Of course, Jed, it's too late. It's too late for the people that have taken it by that point. Hi, T, Gemma supporter. I see you there. And don't forget, Gemma O'Doherty will be joining me on Monday of next week. So make sure you tune in then. But yeah, Jed, I mean, what do you think? Do you reckon that what we're seeing, is this stuff that they've got planned? Or do you think these are just is it genuine, authentic beginning of a breakthrough?
I think I am leaning to it's a genuine breakthrough, but I do feel that the people that orchestrated this scam are on a global level. So all your world leaders, all your civil servants, top level civil servants in the US, the deep state, etc., are all trying to backpedal what they said, what they did, what they affirmed,
Yeah.
what they didn't
Yeah.
affirm. And you can see, they cast it out, 3 years ago now, and they're reeling that line back in as quickly as they can. But unfortunately, we, the royal we've got to the truth, and it's coming out, and they will never reel that line back in quick enough to stop it wrapping around, metaphorically around their necks.
Yeah, because the thing is, Jed, the all this information that's coming out about the the damage, the damage we see picked up at the MHRA system in the UK, picked up in the VERS system in the States. I mean, that as virtually every day goes by, we see more and more stuff, and that's what we see recorded in these self-reporting systems. But we only have to go on to social media, and we see the videos of people, young people, actually a lot of young people falling over on the sports field. Jed, we've talked about this before, and so I just think there's so much coming out now that they can't stop it. So the best they can try and do is control it a little bit.
You can never stop the truth. The truth will be out eventually. It's just how quickly it comes out and whether heads will roll. And I don't think, David, heads will roll.
No, we've talked about this before, because it's not the same analogy as 1947. You're right. You're right about that. Just want a couple of comments. I'll always like to read out your comments. Republican Rocker says turbo cancer, hair loss, deafness, blindness, heart attack, strokes, all side effects, all stated side effects. Biotech Babe says that Naomi Wolf, who really we must get back on the platform, is pushing Congress to look at the research into the Pfizer documents, because it's Pfizer. I mean, as I say, the Biotech Babe also says there's only one common variable to the sudden deaths, Jed, and that is that they were all vaxxed. Exactly. If those of us who were unvaxxed were dropping like flies the way the vaxxed are, Jed, they'd be all over it.
No, they would. And I know you put that out on Twitter this morning. Absolutely, they would.
Yeah.
And it'd be the top, the first, second, third, and fourth headline on BBC News at 6 o'clock. Sky would be running it on the ticker tape across the bottom, constantly in bold capitals. The unvaccinated, the anti-vaxxers are dying in hundreds.
Anti-science bigots are all dying.
With somebody coming on, with some unknown doctor coming on, and left-wing activist doctor saying, "Oh well, 3 people today on their deathbed said, oh, they wish they were vaxxed."
Yeah,
that old chestnut.
Yeah.
But, can I just answer Biotech Babe? Yes, I am fun out on a drink, but I don't need drink to be funny. Okay, I can have a laugh without being drunk, but when I am drunk, oh God, you want to hold on to your hat.
Right. Well, we maybe we'll save that for another point in the year. We can do a test experiment. So listen, if it was, Leslie Butler brings up the point, Bell's palsy.
See, David, I had Bell's palsy back in May of 2020. Right. Never had it before. And I woke up one morning, a bit funny on one side, and then the following morning, it was. But that was before the vaccine, and I wondered if COVID has a Bell's palsy side effect and whether I had it from the get-go.
But I mean, it is possible to have Bell's palsy, and
of course it is,
side effect of COVID. But I think, just generally speaking, you just have to look, Jed, at the list of noted side effects, which can't be hidden anymore. The media doesn't want to talk about it, but can't be hidden anymore, of these vaccines. And even though we're putting this out on YouTube now, and we're putting this out on Facebook, whether they like it or not, we are seeing more and more what I would say normies beginning to waken up, Jed, and think, well, hang on a second, like we believed what we were told. I hear this a lot from people who talk to me, Jed. People who genuinely, in fact, actually, for example, on our live stream on Monday night, We had Dr. Ahmed Malik on. And, I hope, by the way, you guys have watched that one because it's an excellent
Oh,
chat.
he's brilliant, isn't he? Absolutely brilliant.
But I mean, even he, an experienced surgeon, was saying that he did take one. He felt a coercement. He wanted just to make life maybe a wee bit easier because his wife was very keen on the vaccines and stuff. And he went and he took one and he instantly regretted it, And I think, Ahmed is not atypical. There were many people, Jed, like that. For the first one in particular, that felt for an easy life, maybe we'll just go and take it, And there was also many, Jed, like young people who wanted to go and take them so they could get the proof so they can go on their holidays. Isn't that right?
Yeah, no, they did. And, I will say, even a family member said to me, said, at least I will be able to go and visit foreign countries and you won't. Yeah. Now, if that is your logic on getting an experimental gene therapy injection, then you go on your foreign holiday. I'm more than happy. There's more than enough places in the United Kingdom for me to visit without having, from now to the day I die, without having to get on a plane. Getting on a plane, I have to have a jab to get on a plane, other than, for example, yellow fever. I've had yellow fever twice in my life, the jab. Yeah. And both times I've had an adverse reaction to that. And when I met the second time is when it clocked on me. And bear in mind, you only have yellow fever once every 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. So the second time I had it, I went back to the doctor the following day after being in excruciating pain all night long.
Yeah.
And he went, oh, yeah. He said, that's because it's bound with an egg protein because it's a live virus. So it's bound with this protein from eggs. He said, that'll be it. I said, well, why weren't I warned about that? Oh, well, you have to have it. What? I had it because I was serving at the time, and it was just one of those you had to have.
Well, I think I might have dodged a bullet in that, because in 2018, my wife and I were due to fly to China. And to go to China, it is advised that you get the so-called the vaccine for yellow fever. So I remember trying to get it, to be told, oh, there's a global shortage, you can't get it.
Which the thing is, it is well known, David. It is absolutely well known. He said straight away, "Oh yeah, that'll be the egg protein it's bound with."
Yeah.
So, and I'll just say, because Biotech Baby is always very nice and kind and thoughtful. So I will just say I'm absolutely fine now. Well, depends on what you call fine, but I do know now there's certain egg proteins I have to keep it away from. And it's often things like, you get, I know this is beside the point, but you get the pancakes mix in a bottle where you just add milk, I think it is, and shake it, and you got your pancake mix. That has the same type of egg protein in it, and that gives me the same reaction. But only since having the second yellow fever one. I've had them before, not a problem, etc. But once I had that second bout of yellow fever jab, that was it.
I mean, it's interesting because back in 2018, I actively sought out the yellow fever vaccine, couldn't get it, so dodged a bullet. But I wonder, just in terms of the people watching this on all the different streams, I wonder how many of you fall into my camp, whereby in 2018, I was trusting, I believed fully in vaccines, thought they were a good idea. That was the year I took a flu vaccine, which made me ill. So I never took another flu vaccine. But now, Jed, now in 2023, and I'm open about this, so everyone knows if you listen to me on the podcast, where once I said, well, generally speaking, I am pro-vaccination, but not the COVID one. I used to say that back in 2020 and the early part of 2021. I totally changed. So I'm just reading out.
I know. I thought that was quite funny. Well done.
What's yellow and ugly and sleeps alone? Yoko Ono. Oh my God. No, I don't believe in any vaccines, and I won't have any vaccines. I wonder, are there anyone else down this rabbit hole with me? Because
Well,
because
David, right,
hang
as
on
I
a second,
said
hang
before,
on. Because I don't no longer believe in the authenticity of viruses. I wonder, well, what the hell is a virus? What's the vaccine going to do? Now, lots of people may disagree with me, and lots of people may say, no, that's rather silly. But I genuinely have such big questions now, and that's just me in the space of 3 years, Jad. From being someone who had no issues with vaccines to someone who now would not touch any of them, it just shows you how this thing has backfired on the well, big pharma, I suppose, and all those who supported it. Because I don't think I'm the only one.
no, I do think once that dam has fully busted, David, I think trusting in the health professionals, trusting government, if you think it's low now, it will be digging in once the dam does burst, because nobody will want to go near anybody, except for a small group of people who are still pushing, get jabbed, get your vaccines now, get this, get
Sure.
that, get the other. And they're
Yeah.
still, I know, wear your mask and don't come within 2 meters of me. You know, you think, for God's sake, just wake up, open your eyes, take out the NPC chip out of your head. There is a real world out there. Get out of the matrix and start living your life.
Absolutely, Jed. But I saw a comment from Melanie actually. You see, Melanie put it up earlier. She says, my friend has just had her fifth, Jed, her fifth vaccination. It's hard to be friends with her, to be honest. Melanie, this is the problem. You know, I can fully understand people who took one jab, maybe even two jabs. I have family that took three jabs. So I am not judging anybody. But honestly, once you're on your Melanie, you see someone on their fifth dose of mRNA. Like if you look upon it, which I do, Jed, as play when it comes to taking these, it's like Russian roulette, where you've loaded six, you've loaded one bullet in a cylinder of six, and you're pulling the trigger. Well, if you pulled the trigger, Melanie, 5 times, good luck with that, Jed. What do you think?
Well, that's right. With a six-chamber revolver,
Yeah,
you've only got 6 chances, haven't you?
yeah.
You know, I it's unbelievable, to be honest, David, that people are still going, well, hang on. You told me, get the jab and everything will be all right. Oh, no, get 2 jabs and everything will be all right. Get 3 jabs, everything will be all right. Get 4 jabs, you'll definitely be all right after that. You'll get 5. Where does it stop? It doesn't stop. And what the reason it doesn't stop is the jab has got nothing to do with protecting you against anything other than, one, making money for Big Pharma, 2, making money for the politicians who have signed all these deals, because they need a future once they finish being a politician, which for some of them is going to be very soon. And then 3, how do you control population? You get rid of a few million, a few, a billion maybe.
Well, look at plunging birth rates. I think that's the way this one really works. If you get into the birth rates in the West, Jet in particular, in 21, 22, and undoubtedly in 23, we're seeing it plunging right down. And today's birth rate is tomorrow's future. And if for example, our birth rates drop to 1.5 per couple, or 1, that means the population halves in about 30, 40 years, so it can be done quite suddenly. Quite a lot of comments I wanted just to get to here, because I see lots of really good comments here. I don't like to ignore them. Obviously says HPV vaccine is the worst. Yeah, you want to read about HPV, and then you would maybe take different views about so-called vaccines. Again, yeah, Gorgo Knight talks about reduction of birth rates. That's my point, Gorgo Knight. More, Libby says she's sorry for cancer patients. Oh yeah, that's right, Libby. Did you see that one, Jed? Libby makes a point here over in Getter that cancer patients may be offered mRNA vaccines going forward. Well, Jed, what could go wrong with that, I wonder?
Oh, absolutely nothing, David. They're 100% safe and effective. Don't you know?
Yeah.
Where have you been for the past 3 years?
I know. Well, exactly. I mean, the thing is, they cannot conceivably keep running with this, but yet they do. Melanie says she's free of jobs, no doctors for me. Eat healthy, take Vit D and K2, pictures of health. Yeah, I mean, Melanie, you see, I think there's loads of people like us now. Jed, do you think so?
Yeah,
Melanie,
no, I do, David. I do. I didn't.
there's million here just in the UK alone. People we've kind of gone off the reservation till a significant degree. Thank goodness for that, I think as well, because I've seen the light. I believe, like Dr. Malik said on Monday night, Jed. He was talking about a healthy recipe for a good life is eat properly, make sure you get your vitamins, make sure you exercise, sensible stuff. Don't overindulge. Try and keep a healthy
But
mental
the thing
state.
is, David, right? When we look at our health service now, we have so many people that are type 2 diabetes. Why? Because they're fat. And why are they fat? Because they eat junk. And
Junk,
why do
yeah,
they eat
that's
junk?
good.
Because they say it's cheaper, but it's not. Actually, to prepare a proper meal from scratch is cheaper than it's always cheaper than processed food. You should stay away from processed food. Now, I love processed food. I love my bacon grill. And for those squaddies
Yeah,
no bacon grill like there's no tomorrow.
yeah,
Fried on a couple of slices of bread is absolutely brilliant. But you've got to, if you put crap in, you're going to get crap out. And it's just like in anything. You put bad data in, you get bad data out. Put bad food in you'll have worse outcomes. But it's always been the case. So type 2 diabetes, we're told, stay off fats, eat carbs, eat carbs, eat carbs. That's the worst thing you can do if you're a type 2 diabetic.
yeah. Well, no, yeah,
One,
yeah,
and I'll tell you now, although we've spoke about him on this show, John Gaunt, Simple Fats,
yeah.
lost loads of weight. Now, I used to be a supporter of John Gaunt, and then he went
He
off
went. He
the
went. He
rails,
went a bit weird. He did.
loco.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
down in Acapulco.
Yeah.
But the thing is Simple Fats is right. He was a type 2 diabetic. He still had his bacon and eggs. He still had his wine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he lost loads of weight, and he's now no longer a type 2 diabetic.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to do. Don't listen to the doctors that say eat carbs. Eat carbs keeps you as a diabetic, keeps you on insulin. It keeps you as part of Big Pharma.
Well, you're absolutely right, Jed. And actually, that's why, folks, as I said, Gemma O'Doherty's joining us next Monday. And then the Monday after that, my friend David McCollum, the gut guru, is coming to talk to us. And that's going to be very much on health, Jed, and about eating and drinking and diet and trying to make sure that we shouldn't be going to big pharma for our health. We should be we can take control of that.
No, you can take control of your health. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Eat properly, exercise regularly, and the thing is, people say, well, you'll live longer. And the flip side of that is, if it gives you 5 more years, it's the last 5 years it gives you, which are normally the worst 5 years.
Worst ones, yeah.
If you see what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But it's not the point. It's about the point of the quality of your life till you get to the point where you're sat in an armchair in an old folks' home, if they still have any, if they haven't killed them all off. And you sat there, and somebody's spoon feeding you your food every day because you no longer can chew. But the point is, up to that point, you've had a good, healthy life. That is the point.
Yeah, and that's why I think, again, because of what they've done over COVID. Remember, Jed, when the lockdowns, keeping people indoors, closing the gyms, but keeping the fast food centers open. My local park, they closed it, and then they policed it so people couldn't even go and sit on the seat. All that madness, everything that they done, they maybe thought that they were being smart, but what they've done is they've woken us up, or at least certainly everyone, I think, probably watching this or listening to this, to understanding that our health is important and our immune system is important, but we can control that, and we do not need to be taking experimental mRNA treatments every 4 to 6 months. We don't need that at all. And that's going to be a theme, I think, Jed, as we go through, 2023, helping everyone who listens to be able to make sure that they're taking control of their health. And
no, I mean, David, look, I had a fry up for my tea tonight because we don't normally have fry up for breakfast, if you see what I mean. I tend to have a bowl of porridge or a couple of slices of toast. And my good lady doesn't have anything. So we've just had a fry up for tea. So bacon and eggs and beans and bread and butter. And it was great. But you
Yeah.
can't eat that every day.
No, that's the point. Yeah.
That's the point. It's
Yeah.
nice to go. Now, I don't like Mackie D's, but if you want to go Mackie D's, once a month or once a fortnight, then that's absolutely fine.
Mm.
But going every day like some people do, or going to the chippy every night for your tea, or to the pizza shop, is no way. You will end up spending more time in front of your doctor and perhaps not even getting to retirement age before you collapsed and died.
Yeah, and it is about quality of life as well. You're dead right. I see Hot Pursuit says zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D3, C. Listen, we'll get to David McCollum in 2 weeks, and we're going to have a real good deep dive into.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. But look, listen, my vitamins right outside of me in my office.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, if Jed, you and I lived in somewhere with a more sunny climate, let's say, than where we do live, like if we lived in Florida, for example, well, we don't have to worry about getting our vitamin C or vitamin D or whatever from a vitamin tablet, because we get the sunshine and we get all that goodness. But exactly, yeah.
Hey, yeah, but hang on, no, you know where I live, and it's bring me sunshine.
Oh, I know, I know. But it's more of a hope and aspiration than that. But actually, just on meat for a second, I got to say, I had for my tea this evening before we came on air, I had a burger with kale. Right? But the burger, it wasn't. It was like bapless. It wasn't served between 2 pieces of bread. It was served with onions on top of it, and it was really good quality meat, Chad. And here's the point: if you compare good quality meat to the sort of stuff that McDonald's or Burger King serve up, that highly processed, I don't even think it is meat, really. Or, God forbid, some of these meat-free alternative things, the Frankenstein from Bill Gates and the gang, the Beyond Meat, I think they call it, beyond all reason.
It's beyond edible.
It's beyond it. But I know. But that's part of the plan, even, and we're going to talk about the World Economic Forum shortly. But I mean, these people want to stop us eating good stuff, and they want us, like Dr. Malik said on Monday night, they want us fat and stupid, sitting in front of a TV, just absorbing. They want us in the matrix.
I've said it loads. You're right, David. I said loads of times I haven't had that. When I finish doing things like this at night and all the podcasts are out and all that sort of stuff, I go and kick back for an hour and a half before I go to bed.
Yeah,
I tend to put on something like Gogglebox on Netflix. And the reason I do that is because I can sit and watch their reactions to the news or the things that were going on at the time. So, they're always a couple of years old, if you see what I mean. So they're currently during the pandemic and things like that, the ones I'm watching. And they sit there and it's just like the nodding dog, just like Churchill. Oh, yes, that type thing. When they say, 60 million jabs. Oh, yeah. And then they get so excited to go, Strickland's on strike. I love this. I love that. Oh, it's X Factor or whatever it might be. Yeah. And they're in a whole world that revolves around getting up in the morning, going out, doing a 9 to 5. Well, they don't even do 9 to 5s, they're probably 8 till 6. They come home. Dad puts his feet up. Mum goes in the kitchen. Mum in the kitchen. Dad feet up. She cooks tea, they have their tea and they put the telly on, 6 o'clock news, boom, and it's on then till 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then they switch it off, lock the doors, put the cat out, and off to bed. And they do that day in, day out. Except for Friday. Friday night is guys' night, Saturday night is girls' night, so they go out and have a few bevies, and then on Sunday, it's a big fat roast on Sunday, and then the whole cycle starts all over again.
Yeah, but that's
why them, and it's just normies, and it's just you can see each time that the current thing comes up, their chip is plugged in, and they're going, yeah, and they nod along.
Well, yeah, these are the people that are so easily transitioned from it's the Spanish flu to we've got to support Zelensky, we've got to support Zelensky, to, oh, maybe we need a climate lockdown to save the planet because according to the World Economic Forum, we've got a planetary crisis at the moment. You
Have
know,
we?
these people are the ones, Jed, who are so susceptible to that propaganda. Whereas I think all of us, and oh, by the way, hello, James Tyler. I didn't say hello to you. And Jason, hello to you as well. And Claude, hello to you. Northern Monkey. Sorry for if some of you folks appear and I don't acknowledge you. It's just that it's hard to say everything. They're the people, Jed, that can be conned. We're the people that cannot be conned. We cannot be, I believe, at this point. There's no way we can be, hypnotized by the.
No, this is it, and that's my point, David. I can see them. I can see them going, "Oh, current thing. Oh, current thing. Oh, current thing." If you see what I mean?
Right. That's what it is. Yeah.
And then, oh, the distraction, and the distraction is either Strictly, Bake Off,
Oh yeah,
X
yeah,
Factor,
yeah.
Britain's Got Talent, I'm a Celebrity, all
Yep.
the garbage TV. If you see what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. As our friend Ultron says here on YouTube, he says it's not called programming for nothing. You're dead right, Ultron.
No, you're absolutely right. It is programming that, and that's why. And somebody's just said, and I brought up the comment and they said, "Jed, turn off the TV." Here we go. Yeah, I watched that because I know what I'm watching, and I'm watching it for a reason. I'm watching it so I can, because I didn't watch it at the time, so I can watch what their reactions are compared to what we now know. And it's just unbelievable because they're all nodding along with, "Oh yeah, I think somebody should lose their job if they haven't had a job. Oh yeah, I think the nurses should lose," that type thing. And you think, God's sake, just take out the chip.
Northern Monkey observes that the current thing is to stop drinking in January, feel depressed, and watch junk on TV. Absolutely. Absolutely, Northern Monkey. That's it. It's, what is it? January. Have to be careful how I say that. It's January, and we all have to be miserable. Well,
it's just like, David, and this is part of the NPC mindset and the current thing.
Yeah.
We've just finished Christmas. We're in January. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, so we just got into January. Went down to the shop on a Saturday, and have a guess what were on the shelves? Valentine's Day stuff.
Oh, Valentine's, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I can see it now. David. We'll be, a week away from Valentine's, and then we'll have Easter. So there'll be Easter eggs and things like that, and Easter bunnies all over the shelves. And why? Right. Because current thing, spend, give us your money, give us your money, gives your money, gives your money.
Yeah. And whilst I don't have a philosophical objection to chocolate, especially dark chocolate, but you're right. People are subjected to eating mountains of sugar and junk food, and we will talk this with David McCollum, because he's given me a lot of good advice in terms of how I should manage my health. And I think, whilst it's only guidance, that's all it is. I think it is very helpful. So as I say, the issue is that I think them pushing the jab regime on us, Jed, has woken so many of us up. And as Claude says there, it's a good point. Watch the BBC News to find out what is definitely not happening. Exactly, Claude. I take a view, and I mean, Jed knows from a lot of the podcast stuff that I do. Essentially, I will take a line from the media and show you why it's completely fraudulent. At best, it's a half, and half lies are the most dangerous lies, where there's a bit of truth, but there's a lot of mistruth in it as well. So, so I think we've woken up, and we are,
James, sugar is designed to be addictive.
It is. Sugar's
it's as addictive as cocaine, as nicotine, and the rest. And I love sugar. I mean, I had a donut after my fat boy tea tonight. So I sit here and I'm not preaching to you. I'm telling you something even I don't do as much as I should do. But like I said, I still have my vitamins.
Exactly. Well, actually, just on the subject of donuts, I was out in Belfast on Saturday for a birthday thing with my wife, and I went into, Jed, one of these sort of fast food, sort of, called what is it? They do donuts, Hortons. Oh, someone give me the actual
Krispy
name.
Kremes.
No, not Krispy Kremes. No, but similar to that. There's a Canadian.
Dunkin' Donuts.
No, not Dunkin'. It's called. Oh God, what was it? Some Ken. I'm thinking it's Ken Hortons, but it's KC Hortons. Don't no, it's not. I see people coming up with Dunkin' Donuts. Anyway, here's the point of the story. I was sitting in having a coffee. It was very wet outside, so we'd come in for cover. And Jed, they did sell donuts, and I was sharing a cinnamon and something donut when someone who follows me on social media came over and said, "Are you David Vance?" To which my normal response is to look around and go, "I might be."
Who's asking?
And then he said, "I'm a big fan, bloody," and he was very kind. So to that gentleman, if you're watching this, thank you very much for your kindness on Tim Hortons. Republican Rocker gets it. Tim Hortons, yeah. He was very kind to me. But yeah, look, again, old-fashioned wisdom, Jed. A little bit of everything is okay. A little bit of everything is okay. But it's when you get into, but no doubt about it, Melanie's right. All of you guys are right. Sugar is essentially poison. You're dead right about that one. And that's why, but people are poison, folks. They really are, by big manufacturers in so many ways. It's almost Claude says you were in the shop that Voice of Wales rated. No, I was in a K in that yeah, Tim Hortons, which is a Canadian chain. The first time I ever went into one was in Toronto, and loved their mini donuts with my kids when they were young. And well, anyway, Tim Hortons. There we go. Right, moving on. That's enough about that. Right. So just started straight a comment coming in here. Speaking of donuts, where's Stephen Nolan spending taxpayers' money in Las Vegas again? I have no idea what you mean by that, Blitzer. That's a local Northern Ireland thing. But so Jed David will be wanting a writer soon. I'm not sure what
No, I'm not sure what that meant. I thought I put it up for kids, so they did.
Don't know what that means even. Don't even know what that means. So look, then the other thing, yeah, I see that comment from Blitzer there. So let's move on then. So look, they're having this jamboree in Davos, and I'm sure everybody's seen it, the World Economic Forum, and I'm sure you've seen not all the great and the good, because there's some notable exceptions this year, such as, for example, Bill Gates. But by and large, the world masters have gathered there, and I'm sure you've seen some of the stuff that they've been putting up. I mean, it's real. I mean, and I know Klaus Schwab. I know, but people say I look like him. So please, but as you can tell, I can't be him because I'm not in Davos.
But are you, David? Because we all know that's a green screen.
Green screen, you see, Jed. Yeah. If I hit the button, just behind me would appear the snowy out exterior, which is Davos. But they're all over there. And the stuff that they're coming out with, it's really, really horrific. There's one guy stood up on stage today and he talked about, it's not about a climate crisis anymore. No. It's worse than that. This is a planetary crisis. This is a human crisis. Oh, what's the solution to this planetary crisis then? Oh, you have to give us control over your life. I mean, these people are basically, as far as I can see, the spiritual heirs to the Nazis. Jed.
Yes. What else you want me to say? But yes, you're right, David. They are, and I mean, I watched Lotus Eaters. Well, I think it was on today, but I watched it on replay. When as a segment, and they did a segment about Davos and the plans, and they've got quite a good series going at the moment where. These 15-minute cities, cars in Oxford, etc. All this is Davos plan. This is World Economic Forum plan, and it's what is coming. But it's always done under the guise of we're doing it for your benefit. We're doing it to save you. If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're not. But by the time people realize, by the time the normies realize what's going on when they can't drive their car, and the example they were using was, for example, let's take Oxford, and you live in one part of Oxford, you got 2 schools to drop your kids off, and then you're going to go to work yourself.
Yeah.
Now, it could just be a straight, point A, point B, point C, done. But when it becomes the zones, and you've got to cross those zones and you get fined and pay, you have to pay to cross those zones, then what you'll find is they'll drive out of Oxford, out of the zone, out of Oxford completely, around the outskirts, back into drop school 1, back out, around again, school 2, back out, around again to work. So they'll actually increase the amount of time you spend in your car and the miles that you travel and the fuel that you burn, because you're trying to avoid being fined or penalised for going across multiple zones, if you see what I mean, within Oxford.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
what they don't understand, because people, they say that what they're trying to do is just nudge you in a different direction. How many times have we heard nudge over the past 3 years? The
Yeah.
whole thing is about nudging you into a different way. Why are they so concerned of what I do Monday to Friday, every day of the week, whatever it is? Why is the government so involved in my every minute of every day?
Well,
Why is
because
it involved? Why does it need to be involved?
no, well, it shouldn't be involved in any way. But if it's going to control you, it has to be involved, and that's the point. And I also think, by the way, on this one, and Jed, you and I have talked about this a lot, and I think we are quite far down the road in this one. You see, I think people who think that, like what you've just talked about there, where they're talking about, oh, you have to go from zone A and then round to zone B, and then you drive to zone C, and you try all that. No, I think that's wrong, because their objective is you're not going to be driving at all. You will
Well,
not.
that's it, because it's about saying, you go, oh,
Yes.
God, that's more hassle than it's worth.
Yeah.
I might
Yeah.
as well just go on public transport. That's
That's
what
the
they're trying
plan.
to do.
That's
That's the plan, David. So it's
it.
either
Yeah.
you now spend 40 minutes dropping the kids off at school and then 40 minutes driving yourself to work, or you spend
Yeah.
10 minutes and you drive through all those zones and you pay all that money, or you get on public transport.
Exactly. And that's
And that's
exactly
what they're trying to do. And that's the behavioral change they're trying to get.
Yes, and it's not a coincidence, Jed, that you mentioned Oxford, and we talked about this previously on some of the streams. You know, Canterbury, and I know there's Paris.
Bath is going as well.
But yeah, so the Bath as well. Yeah, the place I was in June of last year. This is not coincidental. This is World Economic Forum policy being implemented, Jed, right now. And even actually, Jed, I think I know we have some Scottish folks on this stream. I can see that. I mean, basically, Sturgeon's come out, and they're basically gonna all but erase the car in Scotland. And anyone who's been,
But the thing is, the reason I kept Northern Monkey's comment up,
it's
because part of this that I was listening to today, this zoning within cities, and within towns, is a Marxist communist idea from the 1960s. And they tried it and they implemented it, and it collapsed because it didn't work. It doesn't work. But it's exactly the same thing. But it's given to you as, we're doing this for your own good. We're doing it for your health. We're doing it for the environment. We're doing it for the planet. Utter BS.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. No, it absolutely is. And of course, it can't work and it won't work. And who knows what societal chaos it will bring about. Because I was going to say, like in Scotland, for example, outside of the central belt from Glasgow across to Edinburgh, Scotland's very rural. People absolutely need their cars to get from point A to point B. But they're going to move us to a position where those people, I don't know how those people are going to be able to do anything, because I think at one point, at a point, cars will be too expensive. The electric vehicles, that is, there's not going to be an infrastructure. So I don't even see how it works out. Jason O'Brien says, my sister is fleeing Scotland. Yes, James Jameson, I know you're in Scotland, and you will have seen the news about SNP plans to basically get rid of, I think, Jed, they're talking about 20% of cars in Scotland by.
Let's hope they fail with that as big as they fail with building ferries, because that means then the Scots get to keep the cars.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, again, absolutely. I mean, the whole Scottish ferry thing has been a catastrophe, and only it's because the Scottish media, just like the media south of the border as well, is so controlled by in this case, the SNP, that they don't talk about it. James says he lives in the Grampian area. You can't exist without a car. James, I live in a rural situation. I can't exist without a car. There's nothing within, a few miles of me. So, but I don't think, Jed, they care. They're hell bent on, first of all, they'll go for the cities, the 15-minute cities, the bigger towns. But once they've done that, I guess those of us who are outside of that, maybe that's when they come for us. But they'll have got the majority of people, and they will have taken control of our cities. Because Klaus Schwab is basically saying that he thinks the days of the nation state, Jed, a sovereign UK, a sovereign America, whatever. That's old fashioned. You shouldn't look upon it in that way. He talks about stakeholder capitalism, which is BlackRock, Vanguard, all those things. That's what he's talking about. He talked about it today. So like, I think it's in plain sight what they're trying to do at Davos.
Well, the thing is, David, right? You say they'll go for the smaller cities, etc. Yeah. The idea is, when the Russians did it, they went for the big cities and it failed. What the WEF are saying is go for the smaller cities like Oxford, like Bath, like Cambridge, yeah. Not London or Birmingham or Manchester, yeah, or Cardiff. I know Cardiff's, Anyway, don't wish to offend the Welsh.
We keep the French happy.
Keep our Welsh friends happy. But the point is, if you go for them, people notice. Now, you could say, well, that's exactly what Sadiq Khan is doing. Now, Sadiq Khan did
with
he'd asked the people, didn't he, about his new OLED zone. Yeah. And 93% of them said no, but he went ahead with it anyway. Oxford, same sort of figures. 95% of them said no. And Oxford still go with it. Why? Because it's not about what people want. It's about what WEF want.
Yeah,
it's what about the civil service wants. Yeah,
that's right.
Most people that are embedded. Our deep state is the civil service. In the US, it's obviously the FBI, CIA, those sort of people. We all have our deep state. And it's a deep state that go, yes, Minister, you can't do that, Minister. What we need to do, Minister, is this. And I tell you now, if I ever was in the position of being Prime Minister of this country, and a civil servant came up to me and went, Minister, sorry, we can't really do that. The next words out of my mouth will be, you're fired.
Yeah.
The reason being is, I would be the elected official. You are the one to do my bidding. Yeah, not the other way around. And at the moment, what we have is civil service and deep state running our governments. And therefore, ministers go in with good intent. Yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that, which will be good for the people, and which generally will be good for the people. Then it gets turned around by civil servants in our country, to the point where it's absolutely the opposite.
But you're too forgiving of the politicians. I'm not.
I don't think they're 100% innocent in this. But
everything you say about the civil service, I completely agree with you with that there. But I think even the politicians do their master's bidding. Like, for example, Tony Blair was over in Davos today. As someone said, smiling like a Cheshire cat. I think for our American friends watching this, I understand. I think it was the top guy in the FBI. He was in Davos. Now, this goes back to your thing, Jed. Of course, this is where the swamp, the deep state. Essentially, the World Economic Forum is trying to bring about a one world government. That's really what where the nations are just bit players, Jed, and the politicians, even the good politicians, they're just a bit part. Chris Davies says he's off for his January glass of wine. Cheers, David and Jed. Red wine's
enjoy, Chris.
Good for your heart. I'm sure David McCollum will fill us in on that in a couple of weeks as well. But so I just think they're trying to bring about this one world government, and they've used COVID to try and advance that cause with their vaccine passports, Jed, and all that kind of stuff. And I think they'll try, as we've talked about, they'll try and use climate crisis, planetary crisis, as maybe the next phase in that. And what we have to do, Biotech Babe is right. Christopher Wray of the FBI, he was in Davos. Why?
Why? Exactly why?
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Actually, Jed, someone also pointed out, I've seen on YouTube, why was Keir Starmer? Why is he there?
Yeah.
Why?
No,
I mean,
exactly, David, because it's irrelevant of who's in charge. It's irrelevant of
yeah,
who you vote for.
yeah,
And I will say it again, David. In this country, we're coming up to local elections. There is a choice other than red or blue. If you want reform, and then you could say, well, the controlled opposition.
okay.
I give them a chance. Give them a chance because we've got commie red and commie blue in this country. They're
Hmm.
both communists. They're both Marxists. They both have the same ideas. It's
Other,
just
yeah,
that Starmer is further down the rabbit hole than Richie is. That's all. Richie will be there soon.
Rishi Sunak, in my opinion, I mean, as he put it, he was, how did he put it? A very strange way of saying it. He was, how did he say? He was placed in power, not elected. He was placed in power last year to do a job. Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer, there's no difference between them apart from time. Keir Starmer, I believe, Jed, will be the next prime minister of the country. The Tories are going to be swept out of power. As if a tsunami hit them. I'm not saying that that's necessarily what I want, but it's going to happen. And Keir Starmer he's in Davos, sitting down with his other globalist mates, so that when he gets in, when it's Buggin's turn in 2024, he will then start implementing a lot of this stuff that we keep talking about, which we keep shouting out. He's going to try implementing it as well. And the Tories will just hand the baton to him. And honestly, it's like George Orwell talked about in 1984, when the pigs looked at the humans looked back at the pigs, and the pigs looked at the humans again, and they couldn't tell one from the other. That's how it is. Jed, you're right between the Conservatives and Labour. And by the way, folks in the States, I think it's very similar between the Republicans and the Democrats. Oh, by the way, FYI, everyone, on a cheery note, did you see the big rumors circulating that Donald Trump is seeking to go back on Twitter and also get reinstated on Facebook? So that's interesting. James Tyler says, views on, is that Tommy Robinson joining the Labour Party? I don't know about that. Is that a thing, Jed?
I've heard something. I don't know if I thought it was a joke, but the fact that James has come up with it as well, I thought somebody was just taking a Michael, but I don't know. I'll have to dig into that. If somebody can check for us, or if somebody knows.
Yeah, let us know. We don't, neither Jed nor I know about that one, but we do know that, as I said, well, we don't know, but there's strong rumors that Donald Trump is coming back onto the big social media platforms, which I think is a good idea, Jed, because if he wants to get a chance of the presidency, I don't think he can ignore Twitter.
No, I don't. I think he needs to. I mean, David, you was off for 2.5 years.
2 years, 2 months.
Right. Oh, what's happened there? Just bear with me 1 second, David.
Yep.
Because I'm just looking on Twitter now, and it's all right. It's my other computer's just lost internet. That's all.
Yep.
I thought we'd been taken down on Twitter there.
No. No.
The thing is, I mean, you look at the amount, the millions and millions of views you've had since you've come back. And I'm telling you guys, I see David's stats, and when he tells you he's had millions upon millions, 40 million, something like that.
Yeah.
Since you got back on Twitter, that is a lot of views. And if Donald Trump can't afford to throw that away, he can't.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
Yes, he's got True Social. Yes, there's Getter. Yeah, there's loads of them. Gab, you name it. They're all great platforms. But if you for something like him to get your message to a global audience, you have to have a global platform. And thanks to Elon Musk, we have a global platform.
I think so, Jed. I mean, the reality is, just on Twitter alone, there's 1 billion people who more or less use it regularly. I think with Truth Social, I think it's a couple of million. So Donald Trump would be very well advised, and I think that decision may well have been made, or certainly I think it's actively being looked at for him to come back. And I would welcome that. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this and watching this, I guess I think most of us think we'd like to see Trump as the Republican candidate. I know some people think Ron DeSantis, so either or a combination, Jed. But to have a chance of succeeding, you've got to get to those billions of, if you like, normies on these platforms.
Yeah, even if it is just to get the news cycle talking about you.
Yeah,
because I remember, David, when we were going around for the Brexit thing.
Yeah,
I did a few stalls for the grassroots one with the Farage one.
Yeah.
And then on the morning of the vote, I went round with Vote Leave, dropping leaflets. And I was talking to a guy who'd organised it, and he said, I did this for the Tories at the last election. And he said, I said, but does it really work? And he went, yes, it does. And the reason it does is for all those undecided, he said, you'll have people who are firm that they're going to leave, or firm they're going to stay, blah, blah, blah. He said, but for all the undecided, when they get to that front door to walk out in the morning, if that leaflet's on the rug, they look at it, Vote Leave. Oh, right, I've got to go and vote later. And they're more likely to vote Leave, for example, or if it was a Tory or a Labour leaflet, to vote that. And that's why in my area, every time there's a local election, the Labour Party candidates and supporters are out all day long pushing leaflets through doors. Yeah. And I'm only a few hundred yards from the polling station.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And social media, because it's so big, Jed, has a similar effect. And quite honestly, Donald Trump can't afford to stay off Twitter. And plus, he has the gift. I mean, I think I saw, was it Charlie Kirk earlier someone put up a thing I saw saying they're warning there may be mean tweets coming soon. And Kim, I understand a lot of people have questions about Trump, and I certainly am not happy with his continued support of the jabs. I really have issues in that. But I have to look, Kim, and say, but on other fronts, is he okay? Yeah, I think he is.
You're never going to get somebody that's 100%.
No, but similarly, Ron DeSantis is a very strong candidate as well. But for me, the perfect combination for 24 would be Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis as his running mate.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that would be best. I'm a big fan of Carrie Lake, but unfortunately she didn't get in, and she won't be there in 2024, I don't think. And I also think, by the way, there's for my American friends, Jed, although we've got big problems in the UK to do with the electoral system, honestly, Jed, I bet you'd agree with me. The US electoral system, it's like third world. And I don't mean to be offensive, and it's not the fault of all the patriots who listen to me, but the Democrats have destroyed your integrity, I think, Jed. And that's what makes me really worry about how the Republicans can win the White House again, if you follow me.
Well, this is if you can control the vote, if you can fortify it, then you're always going to be the winner. No matter what candidate you
That's what I think. Yeah.
If you fortify a vote, then you could have, somebody like Joe Biden as the candidate and still win. So
that's the big worry.
And it will work and work and work until, I don't know. Eventually, it's got to stop, and it will stop, and then the Republicans will start winning again.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know how it stopped. But one thing I would say, Jed, I'm currently chatting to an American author of an analysis, Jed, of what happened in 2022. A very clinical analysis, which is quite eye-opening in terms of the fortification, shall we call it, and which I also think, by the way, happened in 2022. So it happened just 3 or 4 months ago. 3 months ago, and I'm just thinking, well, who's going to stop it from happening in 2024? Anyway, guys, just to let you know that I haven't firmed it up yet, but with a bit of luck, in about 3 weeks' time, we'll be able to have a conversation all about that. Because for sure, I think the great hope that we have is that we boot the Democrats out of the White House and we overturn them in the Senate, and we get MAGA Republicans in, and we make real change. That's my hope, but that might be, you know, me being mega optimistic. Republican Rocker says our election system is AIDS. I agree with you on that one 100%. And things have to change. But anyway, listen, folks, we've come to the end. I know Jed's got something lined up. We've come to the end of our allocated time. Thanks very much for sticking with us as we meamble our way through the topic du jour. I also want to thank everybody who follows me. I know most of you guys obviously all the people on Getter follow me. Thanks for following me over on Twitter as well. If you're able to be on Twitter, I do appreciate that. Thanks for supporting davidvance.net as Jed's bringing it up there. I mean, there's lots of incendiary content going out every day on this, the hardest working podcast channel in the UK. I think we can say that with some degree of authentication. Also, lots of, Jed's been a couple of the podcasts have done remarkably well. Stuff about John Campbell, Dr. John Campbell, which I saw somebody mention earlier. I think it was Melanie. Someone said it, mentioned John Campbell. I mean, I've had a few things to say about those who have Damascus and conversions, who were once big advocates of the jabs and who now seem to be asking lots of questions. So by and large, I'm not convinced, though. Got to be honest, I'm not convinced. But anyway, I want to thank you for downloading the podcast, listening to the podcast, going reading the articles that we put up and Jed puts up on, and our friend City Troll and others put up on the website as well. We do hope, Jed, I think I'll sort of say this one. We hope we may have our shop or a shop available sometime very soon. I know some people have asked for the merchandise, so we hope to have that. Also to say, by the way, guys, if you're in England watching this, there is going to be a weekend of comedy and laughs, not this weekend, but the following weekend. And I'm at it, and there will be other great people there, like Kitty Hopkins, like Right Said Fred, or like Jed's brought them all up on screen. Abby Roberts, Gareth Ike, Matt Hoy, former UB40 vocalist, great comedians there. Alistair Williams and Andrew Lawrence. I do enjoy them guys. And then you've got nefarious characters like myself and Peter McElvenna, my friend from Hearts of Oak. Peter and I will be doing a double act. So that's when the laughter stops. Comedy Cast. You can still buy tickets if you want to go along, single ticket, or just go for the weekend, whatever. Anyway, it's all for a good cause. So that's something for some people to think about as well. We will be back tomorrow evening on the podcast that when we do it live. So I know a lot of some of you folks like to come to that as well. So we'll do that, and I think hopefully Jed can then broadcast it onto Twitter and Getter. So that's pretty much it from me. I think you've got something to play out on, Jed. So
I have, David. Yeah,
leave myself to you, and we play it on this, whatever it is.
Right. Well, I've just so you know, guys, I did have 2 videos lined up, and I've been umming and ahhing which one to play. So I'm going to play the one I'm going to play, and I think it sums up everything that we've been saying, certainly last year. But I'll play out with this. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for the good wishes. Take care.
Yeah.
Oh, when I find the button, David.
Smooth.
Oh, come on, play.
No sense in 2022. Black Lives Matter, except in the womb. Women's rights are human rights, but not one person can define what a woman actually is. We are told to trust the science, but denied basic biology. Love is love. Unless you love God or your country, then you're a right-wing extremist. And we live in a tolerant, welcoming society that doesn't judge anyone based on race, gender, or faith, except when you're a white Christian male, then you're done. How did we get here, guys? How?